things. Things I didn't think I was capable of.
How do you know it's a bomb?
Les Hackle, will you come with me?
You're here to provide your confession.
I haven't done anything.
Have you ever felt that, Lester? An emptiness that you can't fill?
I'm losing my mind. Is there a blessing we should say or something?
Do you think anyone's listening?
Hi, everyone. Can everybody hear me? I'm not totally sure how this works. This is our first time doing a live stream, but I appreciate everybody attending. And if you can't hear me or something is going wrong, please leave it in the comments right now. How's how's everybody doing tonight? Yes, good. Oh, good. Okay, Chris C, the slasher dude, says we can hear you. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Normally I would be at my office. Unfortunately, I am from my bedroom tonight because I have not been feeling well the past few days. So I'm chilling here, but we didn't want to postpone this for another moment. My name is Tom Zambek. I am one of the kind of OG people who worked with Anchor Bay Entertainment back in the day. And we saw an opportunity to revive the brand and kind of bring it into the new era. And I really appreciate everybody who's kind of been paying attention to what we're doing and decided to join us here tonight and right now. And I would love to kind of get things going with some introductions on some of the other people that we have and, you know, what we're kind of all about. Joelle, are you here? Can we see you at all or no? Okay, if we cannot, that's okay. Bear in mind, again, this is my first live telecast with this sort of thing, so please, please bear with me and take into account that I have not been feeling well for the past few days. So give me a bit of a pass as I'm joining up here. Oh, hi, Joelle. There
I'm
you
here.
are. Okay. Joelle, I worked with in the Anchor Bay office in Michigan way back in the day. And we have stayed friends all throughout these years. And she is now on board with the new Anchor Bay Entertainment, helping us with social and organizing these fine giveaways like we're doing tonight. Thank you, Joelle. In Michigan way back in the day. And we have stayed friends all throughout these years. And she is now on board with the new Anchor Bay Entertainment, helping us with social and organizing these fine giveaways like we're doing tonight. Thank you, Joelle.
Yay. You're welcome. Good to be here. I'm so excited. We have some more guests too, which is very exciting.
It will be fun. And to give you a little heads up on what we're looking to do with Anchor Bay, for those of you who are uninitiated, although I imagine if you're attending this, you probably do have some background on what's going on right now.
Sorry, there's a little lag.
Oh. Is it on my end or yours? Okay. You good? But so we're looking both toward Anchor Bay's past as a brand, but also how to take it into the new era. In short, we're looking for kind of the classics of tomorrow. No? Keep going. Okay. Joel says keep going. We're we're looking for the classics of tomorrow. Abruptio, which is a puppet horror movie, is one of our first releases. Shortly there, followed after by Crust, who is directed by Sean Whalen, who most of the horror community would probably know. And we have a sci-fi romp called Daddy that's shortly following thereafter. And a lot of fun things on the horizon. We just inked a deal today for some catalog content. I can't quite announce it yet, but the ink is on paper today, which makes me excited about that too. So we're looking to, kind of both find these unearthed gems that people have forgotten over the years, but also the classics of the future, and look to really cultivate physical media and a large presence of movies that have staying power with the fan base. Something that isn't just going to be glossed over on streaming, and all of the things that make us love these classic films that were endeared to us. So it's kind of trying to find the old classics and bring them to you in a new and fresh way, and trying to bring new classics to the table that hopefully you'll embrace. And just like the Anchor Bay catalog that Joel and I dealt with back in the day, there's probably going to be a few that you don't love personally, and there's probably going to be some that you're really endeared to that are close to your heart. And that's kind of our goal. We want the fans to judge this and at least know if we're releasing it, it's something interesting and worth checking out, even if it's not for them. And in the grand scheme of things, we're looking for things that are interesting and captivating for an audience, and that's what we're hoping to do. So again, I appreciate you giving me a little bit of a forum while I'm not feeling well for this a quick intro to our company and what we're looking to do going forward, and then we'll talk a little bit about the giveaway and how it's supposed to go. We're going to start now in general. Again, the vault and from the vault. I have a storage locker that is packed with things. Joel has a handful of things, and a number of other of our colleagues who are working with us in this new incarnation have a handful of things too. So we're going to start by giving some of those things away. As we kind of cultivate our own content, we're going to be doing some giveaways on that sort of things too. So it's going to be a little different every time. But again, this is kind of the dry run first maiden voyage of this thing. So appreciate you joining us for it, and let's get cracking. Joel, do you have anything to add about kind of how the giveaway rules work and how the prizes will be going out during the live stream? There seems to be a lag, so I'm giving Joel a moment to catch up. In the meantime, you may hear my child and his friend hanging out in the background, running around, and so if that's the additional
Just give me 1 second. Well,
no problem.
I gotta pull it up. We came up with the rules today.
Yes, this is a lot of this are on the fly.
Okay, pretty much, everyone who registered on the website, you get an entry that way. And then when you tag and comment, you get more entries. So basically, anyone who did that, you're in the drawing. Let's see. Basically, you can only win one per show. So you one winner per prize. And then I don't know that's as far as we got. We're just roll with it. We're having fun with it. So one prize per winner per show.
Yeah, that's all good.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, pretty easy.
You guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
We got you, Joelle. Although I am being told there's a little
Do
bit of a
we
lag.
want to give away now or wait? Because we have Mike and we have other announcements. Do we want to announce the other thing first?
Yeah. Do we have people waiting in the wings, or are they not here yet?
Sorry. All right, go ahead.
I said, do you have people waiting in the wings?
A
Or
little
are we not
bit.
here yet? Can you hear me?
He was hearing. Can you repeat that? I'm so sorry. I have a lag. Am I adding Jillian now?
There we go. Can you hear me now? Are you there?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Do we want to add Jillian? Where are we at? Sorry. I lost I couldn't hear. I can now. Yeah, I'm
Okay. I would love to add Jillian if she's available. That'd be great.
she's here. Wait. Yeah. Oh, she's eating. Hold on.
Hi guys.
Hi, Jillian.
I'm just ripping dots over here, but good to see you guys.
Nice to see you too. Are you getting a lag from me, Jillian, or can you hear me okay?
It's just Joelle. Joelle might want to like hop off and hop back on.
Okay.
Just like maybe fix the lag. Oh God.
All right.
So we're hearing it.
Yeah. Wow, I'm hearing myself and
All right. Let's try that. Jillian, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, Tom. Can you hear me?
Great. I can hear you great. It seemed like there was a bit of a lag between us and Joelle, so it was kind of throwing me off a little bit, and I'm already a little thrown off today in general. But thank you Thank you for joining us, Jillian. I want to introduce everybody to Jillian Lee Garner. Jillian is going to be hosting, along with Josh Wagner, our Anchor Bay podcast that's coming up called The Plank. And it is going to be kind of a mix of the titles that we're promoting going forward for the Anchor Bay brand and what we're releasing and what we're passionate about, but also a look to how this fits in with kind of cinema in general and the films that we love, the performers that we love, and we're going to be bringing a lot of very special guests on the show, performers that you know, and I'm very excited to get it launched. And this is kind of the soft launch of it in that it's our announcement of it, and we're going to start kind of filming it basically next week and get everything underway. So thank you, Jillian, for being a part of this. Jillian and I have worked together before, and she's great. She's also a successful podcast host. Jillian, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'd like you to introduce yourself to the peeps and tell them what you think this is going to be all about.
Yeah, peeps, I'm really excited. I'm Jillian. I know Tom because we both went to the University of Michigan, Go Blue. We worked on a horror film together, and I guess they thought that I could speak on films and horror in general because of that. And I said, yes, I can, in fact. And Josh was the director of that film that we worked on. So I'm super excited that he's going to be my co-host with this. And every week we're going to be talking about a new film, and we'll try to make sure that the audience knows what film we're going to talk about ahead of time, so that maybe if it's already been out and it's not a new film, you can watch it before we talk about it. We're going to make it as fun as possible. We're going to have a bunch of cool guests on and interview them, and they're going to be in all sorts of aspects of the industry and different roles that they had in different and all these films that Anchor Bay has. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited to hear what all the fans kind of want from the show too, and what they would like to see and maybe learn about, and who they would like to hear from. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Thank you, Jillian. We're excited to have you on board. And you were kind of a natural fit for what we were looking to do. So I'm glad you said yes.
Me too. I'm happy you asked.
Yeah. So we're getting close to being able to give a few things away. I just want to wait to see if Joel can log back in and whether or not Josh can log in. But either way, we will get something going quickly. I do want to give some shout outs to the people in our chat room just because they're being so patient and giving us such words of encouragement. The Ring, Chrissy, the Slasher dude. Don Fletcher, thank you all so much for just saying, hey, it's cool. We know this is your first warm up and it's a Monday. Like we're appreciative that you're on board with this and kind of listening to what we're doing and trying to do. So after and also, you know, in a strange way, you're our guinea pigs in that you're letting us test this for the first time and figuring it out and how it is. Thank you, Corey Conway. You said doing great. I hope we are, but thank you. In the meantime, until Joel gets back on, we've teased a handful of things that are coming up out there on that we have ready to give away. Joelle is texting me right now, so I'm going to see. Oh, yep, she's going to add herself in. Yes, please. And yeah, and we're going to do a couple on this one, but we've teased out a few that might not go on this one, but they might go on the next one. We're going to keep kind of scouring the vaults and my storage locker. That is literal. That's not figurative. I have a storage locker that is full of Anchor Bay paraphernalia and stuff from the years. So very fun fact as we lead into the giveaway. When we worked at the original Anchor Bay office, which was on Stutz Drive in Troy, Michigan, they moved to a different office, which was also in Troy, but a different office nonetheless. And there was an entire storage room full of stuff. And they literally said to me, who was kind of the low end of the totem pole at the time, Tom, please get rid of this stuff. And at the time, I had a Nissan Sentra. And I went back and forth between that house, that facility that our offices were at, and my parents' house, loading up my Nissan Sentra and dropping off all this stuff in my parents' garage because I couldn't stand to see 300 copies of Maximum Overdrive be incinerated, or all these posters we accumulated over the years and all this fun stuff. So I wound up, much to my parents' dismay, a big collection of things that just really piled up over the years. So it's kind of cool, you know, that we have that and we're able to do that now, and that the brand has come full circle. So again, a lot of this is kind of looking towards what we've done in the past, but you know, we'll be giving away some new stuff soon. And yes, Chris C, I was like a kid in a candy store. I started unveiling posters, like unrolling them in the tubes, and then I said, no, wait, I just got to take them all. And so I just loaded up on so many posters and so many things that I couldn't bear to get rid of, and sorted through them later. So that was kind of you know, my big moment at the time, and hopefully that's to everybody's gain, because at this point, as we're relaunching the brand, I'm feeling good about what we're doing going forward, and I want to kind of pass this on to the fans and people that are supporting this new incarnation as well. Joelle, are you signaling me to say something?
Yeah, I was just messaging you that Josh, I can add him if you want to introduce him really quick.
Please.
And
yes.
We have Mike waiting too. So
okay,
let me add him on.
Bring him in, babes.
There
Right.
he is.
There's Josh. Josh is actually in our Anchor Bay office. And he
the background's not much right now.
No, it's okay.
I tried to use a different computer. I had to use yours.
That's all right. It's still something. But he's in the Anchor Bay office right now, chilling, hanging out. Looks like his girlfriend Natalie's in the corner hanging out too. They just got back from Vegas and decided to stop by the office to figure this out.
Just got back from Vegas just now.
This is so thanks, Josh. Josh is going to be co-hosting the podcast with Jillian. Josh, we kind of already teed it off a little bit in terms of what it is. I don't know if you have anything more that you'd like to say to fans and what you'd like this. Yeah, well, on what you'd like the podcast to be and what you're hoping to bring to the table.
Oh, well, I don't know what you guys talked about.
Speak from your heart.
It's like someone going into a karaoke bar and singing a song that was just sang before they got there. You know, like
it's a good song. No one cares.
No one cares. It's a good song. Yeah, I mean, what do I want the podcast to be? First of all, I dig the name, The Plank. I think it's awesome. Something about that hard K. I don't know. And I don't know. I talked with Tom about just some. I mean, the natural way that it's going to unfold. I'm excited about. I'm not like a podcast professional like Jillian is, but I am a movie pro, and you know, and I love horror movies specifically. And I've known Tom since he worked at Anchor Bay, since he started you know, sharpening pencils at Anchor Bay back in the day. Did you guys talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, my early job there was basically changing water coolers, you know, which evolved over time. But I talked a little bit about how I cleaned out the archives and so forth and so on. So Tom's
the guy. I'm behind Tom all the way on this. Tom's the guy.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that.
Tom's the Batman too, Robin.
Oh, I'm Robin. Okay. You're Batgirl.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you two then on the podcast? But one has to be a Batman, one has to be a Robin. Also, I feel like I didn't introduce Joelle enough. Joelle worked in the Anchor Bay graphics department. So honestly, if you've seen cover art or own these DVDs and Blu-rays from back in the day, chances are Joelle designed one of them. I would be shocked if she didn't. If you saw her list in your resume, you'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe Joelle did that. And there were times that Joelle literally and I would hang out and we'd go out and shoot things with a camera that we didn't have to shoot. You know, Joelle has a great story too. I'll spare you from having to tell it, Joelle, unless you want to, but about the toy from Hellraiser that you had to order. Like we couldn't find an actual photograph of the box of Hellraiser. And there you go.
That includes Mike. Mike, can we add Mike on too? Because
please add Mike. Please add Mike. Yes.
And, I was going to cry because I was like, we have no box just by itself. Sometimes we did not get studio art that you think they should have. And there was not any photo, believe it or not, of just the box. So let me add Mike because Mike can corroborate and add to the story. And Mike, I'm pretty sure.
Hello, everybody.
Mike Ortiz.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, Mike. Hello. And Mike, what can we say about you? Have you been the longest running Anchor Bay employee?
That would be Bo.
Bo. Okay. Bo, and you're number two?
I think I would be 3. I think Aaron was there before me and was there after me, and so was Bo. But yeah, I was there from the early days, the J. Douglas days, all the way pretty much to the end of the Troy office. So yeah, a long time.
Amazing.
This is the
the toy.
Yeah. And what's funny is the picture on eBay, and we just bought it off eBay. A lot of the stuff that we had was just whatever we could find. This, once we got it, this is literally a square wooden block with stickers on it.
Yeah.
But it photographed really, really well. And the cover looks great. And it's just amazing. And actually, Joelle, you'll remember this while I grab that. Do you remember this?
Whoa.
Yeah.
This was from the cover of
8.
That Jason documentary.
His name was Jason. Yeah.
And we didn't have any images of the mask, so we just drove to a Halloween store. And I mean, this is shitty. This is a terrible foam mask.
It was. I almost cried.
Yeah, but Joelle just layered the shit out of it in Photoshop and played with filters and we shot all of this just in our office with either phones or a really shitty camera. Like People don't realize
I
how
had like a megapixel camera. It was an
Yeah.
early one, but it was okay. But yeah, it did the trick.
no professional stuff. Everything we did was just half-assed from top to bottom, but it worked. Like nobody ever saw the seams, but except us.
I remember we built a shadow box
Yeah.
to shoot some of the stuff. And actually, you know, that toy was integral. And then remember Felcher brought in his replica for this one.
The spear, what do you call it? The
Michael Felcher. He had a really just gorgeous prop replica, and he loaned it to us, and we shot it, and that became the cover.
I always find like objects for horror movies. Like I always like when that's the poster. You know, like It with the balloon. You know, as opposed to like all the actors in it. You know, just like it's a little bit of mystique, but it's enough to draw you in. It's like, what is that thing? What does it represent? What am I going to find out? You know. Then you guys create. I mean, you create that sort of stuff. So, and I guess we can call the mask an object.
Yeah,
it's iconic.
I mean, that's just it's an object. I mean, the person behind the mask changes, but the mask itself kind of stays the same. So
I was saying that mask looked like Part 8. It looked like the Jason Takes Manhattan because it seemed like they tended to get they started to get rounder, right?
Well, this is just like foam.
Well, yeah, but yeah,
like when you actually wrap it, it looks better.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean, we basically just picked the cheapest, quickest thing we could because we knew we just need to fix it all in Photoshop anyway.
Yeah. I remember giving it a nose job.
Yeah.
Because its nose wasn't, I don't know, it looked weird. So we just said smush it.
My favorite story about Anchor Bay packaging, and for anybody who is a real old school Anchor Bay fan, I don't know if you remember the original packaging for Season of the Witch.
Was the three masks?
Well, it was just this really sort of flat image of this really kind of flat, like 3-colored image. And basically the only piece of artwork we had for that was that, and it was a fax.
A fax?
So it was a fax that they had scanned it. They had sent to us. And that was the only piece of artwork. So everything else had to be created in Photoshop and tweaked. So yeah, it's we didn't get a lot of resources in the early days.
Right.
Actually, I can probably say this now. I'm sure this is the statute of limitations, but a lot of the cover art that we did was actually illegal.
Was what?
You could say it. You could say it now. I wouldn't be on the hook for it.
Right. No, because it was, you know, we would license these properties, but we wouldn't necessarily get many resources, so we'd have to find them. And, you know, I would say a good 10-20% of the Italian horror covers that we had were just scanned out of a book of covers, which was a copyrighted book, and all of those images were copyrighted. And really, you're not allowed to do that, but, you know, nobody really knew. I remember in the later years when we were with Lionsgate, someone asked us about an old property. It was Ryan Hicks contacted me, and they asked us if we could send them a copy of the official credit block. And we're like, what official credit block? And they're like, well, how did you do the credits? Like, we looked at the poster and we just retyped it. And they're like, you can't do that. You have to have a legal document and all of this stuff. And we're like, we didn't even have a legal department. So we were just flying by the seat of our pants, breaking the law left and right. You know, it was illegal if we got caught and someone called us. And that was just sort of the way we operated until it became a big company and lawyers got involved and we weren't allowed to do that anymore.
Damn lawyers.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a book that I kind of thought of it as the copyright infringement book, because I was like, you know, this is where all of our stuff is coming from.
Season of the Witch has some of the. I was just looking at some of the artwork. Like, I mean, that movie, and as a standalone movie, like, that's a great movie. Tom and I talk about it all the time.
Oh yeah, no, it's a fantastic movie. Yeah,
it's a great movie. Halloween fans are disappointed, but
let's see. Let me find the other one.
Hey, Garrett's in the chat. Hi, Garrett.
Hi, Garrett.
Garrett is here. Garrett's been supporting us from the very beginning. He was one of the first people that reached out when we relaunched Anchor Bay and invited us onto his podcast. And we got to talk, probably even more awkward than this one right now because we had never done anything like that before. But he's been supportive of us from day one. Born to be Rad is his podcast, so please look it up. Thank you, Garrett, for joining us and being with us on this journey.
Did you do
So
this?
should we get down to the giveaways?
Yes.
Who's ready
Give it
for
away,
the
Sharktopus.
Sharktopus.
Maybe. Signed.
Well, eventually, yeah.
Is that signed by Roger Corman?
It's signed by Roger Corman.
Sorry, this isn't.
But that's mine, Josh.
I know.
That said, we may have another one of those to give away, but maybe not this time around. So what should we lead with, guys? And again, I appreciate everybody being in the chat. We're kind of winging this right now, and Joel has a collection, Mike has a collection, I have a collection. At this point, Josh has a collection, most of which he got from me because we've known each other for so long. And my mom didn't want it in her garage for as long as it was.
He'll go to my place and he's like, "Where'd you get this?" I'm like, "You." Hey, where's the stuff here? Didn't you say there's something here? Stuff here?
Well, there's the Hellboy one, and we can start with that.
Well, that's a good one.
Actually,
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You can grab it. Go ahead. Grab it.
Should we have Natalie present it? She's like, "No." Sorry, guys. I'm squinting a lot. I lost my glasses in Vegas. It happens. I lost my Vegas and my glasses and a bunch of money.
I'm going to give a minor story about this that I think is somewhat interesting. I hope you guys find it interesting. I did at the time. But when we did Hellboy animated, it was kind of a big deal. Mike, you'll remember it was a big deal, especially for comic fans. It was huge because they made the Hellboy movie, but then we got all of the actors from the Hellboy movie to be in the animated property of Hellboy. And when I got promoted from the ranks of changing water coolers to going to horror conventions and Comic-Cons, I was tasked with taking Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, to Comic-Con. And we went, and New York Comic-Con happened to be at the same time as the Oscars. And I wound up watching the Oscars with Mike Mignola in a bar, and he cried when his very good friend Guillermo del Toro won for Best Foreign Film for Pan's Labyrinth in my presence, which was a great thing to be a part of. It almost felt like I was at the ceremony in itself. So all I could do was pick up the round on Anchor Bay, but it was still fun to be there and promote that at the time and just be that guy. So that said, Josh, hold it up for the camera, please. We have it's still in its shrink wrap packaging. I promise I didn't re-shrink wrap it. It's a limited edition Hellboy figurine with the DVD behind it of Hellboy animated. This will be our first of many that we're going to give away. Again, this is from Tom Zambek's private collection. This is not something I bought off of eBay. This came from the Anchor Bay vaults. So, Joelle, I'll leave it to you to draw a name. And we'll take it from there. Okay, there we go.
Okay. All right. And I'm doing this with the emails. So
okay. I love how you did it old school though. You printed up the emails and put it into a jar to pull it out of. That's incredible. Yeah.
That one. Oh man. There were some weird emails. This one was KLH 878555.
It's me.
Okay.
Should they be present to win? Did we say present? Was that?
I mean, technically,
are you here? You should be present to win.
So here's what we'll say going forward: present to win. We didn't say that, so that's on us. So congratulations, KL85 6, whatever their email is, but
Great.
yeah, we
Okay.
we'll give them that, but we'll do
Hellboy.
it. That's a good thing to implement going forward. Present to win. I feel like the people, man, hopefully you draw one from the people who are present here. I almost feel like the actives in our chat deserve something.
Yeah, for sure.
So I understand, and this is going to be a bit of a surprise to me because Mike and I finally caught up earlier today over another project, Crust, in which Mike is designing the artwork for us. So it's all becoming, full circle on this. And we had a nice little conversation with Sean and Chris, the filmmakers behind that. But I hadn't caught up with Mike in a while. But I know Joel talked to you, and I understand you have a couple of things that you are willing to part with from your collection.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Okay,
It is accurate. There's a few things here. I guess this was some of the stuff that you didn't rescue from.
Okay.
From Edgar Bay. But actually, you might remember some of this because we used to give these away at conventions, I believe, as prizes. But the first up is it's just the sleeve, but it is Suspiria signed by Dario Argento.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's pretty impressive. I almost want that.
Am I doing it? Am I?
Yeah, well, but yeah. Should this be one of the people from our chat? Let's hope it is. Let's just hope it is.
I know.
Once you draw a name, we'll call him Mulligan if need be.
Okay. Drew Decapitation. This better not be a joke.
That person deserves it.
With that name, Drew Decapitation. Drew Decapitation. Are you, hopefully you're here. If you're not, it's also possible they're not here, and I'm not seeing them as passionate in the chat, as some of the people right now. But
I haven't seen anybody go, "That's me. That's me."
No, not yet.
I can't believe I won. I never win anything. This is amazing.
Best day of my life.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that yet.
I'm trying to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I don't know.
What if someone did go to the bathroom? Like the first person, KLH8. Should we at the end we'll reread the winners? And then maybe I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of like, here's what you missed.
On Glee.
You won. We gotta release
I can post them. We can post the winners and their.
Oh, there you go.
And then I have their emails.
Right. So they'll be emailed. But I do think present to win is a good disclaimer going forward, just because I mean, and that's a little selfish, but also for the people that are showing up as well. But I like seeing people's comments, and I like seeing the interactivity of it. So if we can do that going forward, let's do one, Joel. And I mean, can I ask you a question? A weird question.
Sure.
Since we'll do one more tonight, can it be one from the chat? And how do you do it randomly from the chat?
Oh yeah.
No.
I don't have a randomizer set up. Does anyone?
Okay.
I can add some of the names in here. I can just use their names. If you can keep talking. Oh, I see some people that I remember. There are people in here that I know that are in here. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to add some of the unfamiliars, or we keep going?
I would just chat.
What's that?
Just make this only chat.
Only chat. There we go. Yeah. How about this? This is gonna be. Why don't you send me the list real quick, Joel? And I'm going to generate a randomizer. And maybe, Mike, you gave a couple of good stories. I'm going to put you on the spot one more time. Give one story while I do a randomizer here.
Sure.
And I will generate the names in the right way. And if everybody in the chat can just be chill, I just want to make sure somebody who's here right now gets something because I appreciate it. And I will do it.
all you need are the list of the names in the chat, correct?
Yep. Got it.
Well, one thing I actually was going to say about, Hellboy, when you brought up that being kind of a big deal, a lot of people may remember around that time, both DC and Marvel had launched these direct-to-DVD videos, and Anchor Bay was actually in the running to get the Marvel stuff. I remember we were negotiating pretty up until the end, and that was when Ted Green had just taken over at Anchor Bay for a while, and they were really pushing their animation. And the DC stuff came out, and it was very, very big. The Marvel stuff came out from Lionsgate eventually, and it was pretty successful, not as successful as the DC stuff. And then we were kind of expecting Hellboy to be the next big thing, because we had the original cast. We had people who had worked on the movie were working on this particular DVD. So we expected it to be something that was really huge, and there was actually a number of them that were supposed to be released. And then ultimately they came out, and by that time either Hellboy had sort of lost its shine, or comic book direct-to-DVD movies had lost their shine, and it just didn't really do a whole lot for us. And only 2 of them came out, which is unfortunate because they were both really good. That was the sort of thing, is it was that era when there was just too much stuff coming out. There was a lot of really good, great gems, a lot of stuff that Anchor Bay put out that even went unnoticed, that hopefully in the future people will discover. And that toy that is a part of it is also quite awesome. I have one of those myself. It was really a lot of fun to work on that project. But unfortunately, it did not do as well as anybody had hoped.
I know, and it was actually pretty well done in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, to your point, it was good. Garrett had a good thing, which he had a good point in the chat, and I'm going to give him some props here. An accurate trivia question would be the first one to win the prize. So here's the thing.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually have a trivia question in mind. But this might mean that we're going to give away 4 things tonight, because I already set up the random generator thing for the chat room. So I'm gonna generate for the next piece.
Sure, I could find something else too.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the next one we're going to give away? Mike, Joel, do you have one offhand? I'd like to. Let's save
I have a signed by Don Coscarelli. Phantasm.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
Nice.
It's sealed, and I think I got it at the table. You remember the table, the goodie table.
The goodie table.
I don't have a signed one. I did do this cover, but it was basically me taking the poster and just kind of moving things around to fit.
So that's
it's really the original poster art.
You created that, right? Or it's a hell of a thing for you to part with that.
I have a lot of stuff.
Well, that's it's funny. Tom was talking about all of the stuff that he took. A lot of people took a lot of stuff, and when you're there around that stuff, you get really jaded to it. Like, do I really need another copy of this? And I have a ton of it. Most of it is stuff that I worked on for my portfolio.
Yeah.
But initially you just start grabbing, and you're like, oh my God, I have access to all this stuff. And then you get more and more selective, and then you start giving it away because you're like, I just don't need all of this shit. And it's funny, every year after the Motor City Comic Con, I would go out to the Motor City Comic Con, hang out with a bunch of geek friends, and then we would go. Actually, Joel, you remember Millionaire?
Yeah.
We would go and have a geek party over at a friend. His nickname was the Millionaire, and I would just fill my trunk full of Anchor Bay DVDs and just pop open the trunk, and everybody would just come grab stuff because I was I have to get rid of it.
That sounds fun.
You make room, and then you bring more home, and you make room, and you bring more home. And now I look back and I wish I would have kept it all, but if I kept it all, I wouldn't have any place to live. And
I remember.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Bo said something similar where he just is like, At one time, he had 10 of the Wicker Man, wooden box sets, and at some point he was like, I don't need 10 of them anymore. So like, it was just, we've kind of all gone through that at some point where we've just kind of shed some of these things. And I wish we still had more of them. And it was actually, even funny. Like I think I mentioned this on Garrett's podcast, but at one point I had so much stuff that I basically told my mom, who's retired, I was like, go sell off what you want, and do whatever with it, because I had so many boxes of it. And she was like, I can't believe, this Dracula movie starring Christopher Lee got $130 on eBay, type of thing. And it was so funny because there's so much of it, but you do become jaded to it. I mean, how many copies of Dead Ringers, which by the way, I was ordered to destroy. I did not. Again, speaking of legality, it was like, we no longer have the rights to Dead Ringers. Like, what can we do with it? And destroy all 120 copies that were in the office.
You were told to go out into the woods and shoot him in the back of the head.
I actually, there was kind of a process for it. I was like supposed to put like a spike through it or something. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I just took all the Dead Ringers copies. So I had like 100 copies of Dead Ringers at one point. So it's just, but again, okay. All right.
How many do you have left?
All right. I will go through the storage locker and I will find it. In the meantime though, okay, we're gonna do Joel's. We're going to do Joel's Phantasm, and I assigned everybody a number. I'm going to do a random number generator based on what it is off of Google of who's in the chat. And I appreciate you bearing with me on this. I did want to give something to somebody in the chat, and I am going to run with Garrett's suggestion if Mike or Joel or even Josh has one more thing to give away. And so I am running the number. Hang on, give me 1 second. The number is 3, and I am going to equate it to 3, and it is Corey Conway.
Corey was in there. I saw Corey. Corey, are you still there?
Corey, you there?
What's that?
Hopefully, Corey. Oh, got it. Okay,
yeah,
Corey, you're there.
Right.
You're there. Do you like Phantasm, Corey? All right.
Hell yeah.
This one's yours. Okay.
Chris C, the slasher dude, said, "Hell yeah, Corey."
Okay. I am gonna actually. So one of the best things for me personally about working at Anchor Bay, and I talked a little bit about this on Garrett's podcast, but honestly, being out of film school and it kind of being my first job, there was a huge film education just based in what Anchor Bay put out. Oh, your favorite franchise, even better. Then we locked in good. So it wasn't just the horror films, but I was, how many times did we watch something, Mike and Joel, that we would have never watched otherwise, and we'd say, well, that was pretty good. Like I would have never thought to seek this movie out. And, there were just so many things that went deep with the Anchor Bay catalog that it kind of became a bit of a film school education for me, that I wound up seeing all these things that I probably wouldn't have even seen renting from a video store just because they were there for the taking and I was able to get them. So I'm going to ask a trivia question, but Mike, Joel, do you have one more item or no? If not, I'll ask Josh to present one. Josh could probably have one from my office somewhere.
I can do the sister.
Yeah,
it's number 4.
It's not signed though.
It's not signed. It is.
I've got another. You sign it.
I've got something.
I sign it.
I
made it. I made this cover.
Joel did. What do you have, Mike?
I've got an opera signed by Dario.
Oh, okay. He's got a signed opera by Dario Argento. So
the other one.
Oh, fantastic. Sorry, Joel. We'll do 4 next time. I'm all.
And
for
I have a story with
no
that
pun
one.
intended.
It has to do with tagging your work. Mike, I'll tell you the story. Jeff told me to do it.
Okay.
I love that. Mike, can I tell the story real quick before we give this away about you slipping your photo into one of these or no?
Oh yeah, I kind of forgotten about that.
So we did a little known indie comedy called Free Enterprise, which is actually a pretty fun movie. But a lot of it has to do with Star Trek worship and worship of William Shatner, and it's a very geek culture movie. And there's a booklet that comes with it, and I just remember Mike. And I don't think anybody would have been the wiser except Mark Ward, who at the time would know this. But Mike slipped himself and his buddy into one of the photos, and it was a really whatever photo, right? It was just like everybody at a comic book store is part of the booklet. Like it didn't matter. You were part of the background.
It was a photograph of William Shatner and the other cast members and the makers of the movie. At a comic book store called Golden Apple Comics, which is a famous comic store in Los Angeles.
Right, yeah.
Where part of the movie was shot. So a friend of mine, Damon Shaw, he was like, put us in the book. And we had actually gone out to a convention and we got a photograph with William Shatner. So we took the pictures of us from the photograph of William Shatner and I put them in the booklet standing next to Shatner, figuring nobody would catch it, nobody would see it, like literally this big in the booklet. And then, unfortunately, Mark Ward, the VP of acquisition, was looking at that just to see if he knew anybody in the photo because he knew some of the filmmakers. And then when he saw me, he just came in and he just put it down on my desk and went, "Dude, what the fuck?" I was like, he was like, "I'm not going to tell anybody, but come on." And but what's funny, and I don't know if you know about this, that was actually the beginning of a trend, and I am actually on the back cover as a zombie in the first 6 seasons of The Walking Dead that came out.
Oh, impressive!
Yeah, it was another instance. I was actually working on the back cover. I was on the phone with my friend Damon again, and he was like, "Make us zombies." So I did. I just went onto Facebook and grabbed a photo of him and a photograph of myself and put some zombie stuff on it, and just sort of pasted our heads into images on the back cover. And then every season that I worked on it, I made a zombie somewhere in some form. And by the end, we were actually initially it was just like grabbing a head from an existing photo. By the end, we were actually taking pictures of ourselves, like matching poses from the image so that we could put our heads in and kind of layer the makeup over. And we just had this progression going all the way through. And the very last one that I worked on, I made us dead zombies because I knew that was my last one that I was going to do somebody else. So
that's amazing.
I created an arc for our zombies across the back covers of Anchor Bay and never told anybody about it until right now because I was terrified that I was going to get fired for fucking around with The Walking Dead. That was our biggest franchise. And if anybody found that out, that could open the door to a lot of things that I hid over the years. And, that would have gotten me fired. And then after that, I continued to work with Lionsgate on a freelance basis. I don't want them thinking I'm hiding things in artwork and continued doing stuff for quite a while. Now the only entertainment people I work with are you guys, so I could be a little bit safer in confessing all of this stuff. But we used to hide stuff like that, just weird things. Even just some of it wasn't even really hiding. It was just like you had mentioned, we would just take stuff that we had. Most of us in one way or another in the graphics department found our hands or our handprints or fingerprints. All of these things wound their way into covers just because we needed something, and someone just scanned their own stuff.
It was funny, and this was during the Overture years, and this was after I moved to California, but I was still working with you guys peripherally. And I promise we'll give away the Argento thing. It's the last story I'll tell. But we were doing the remake of The Crazies, which I actually, I know there's mixed reviews on it, but I actually was kind of a fan of it. And we we were trying to figure out the menu page, and RJ Galantine and RJ was kind of like on the post-production side of it. So I wound up, kind of working with him after working with these guys. And RJ said, well, why don't we just take this camera that we have laying around the office and he's like, I have a gas mask. Don't ask why RJ had a gas mask. He did have a gas mask. And he was like, let's go shoot something crazy, no pun intended, in the field outside our office. So we shot RJ basically passing out in a gas mask. And then we kind of rotoscoped images from the film into the eyes of the gas mask. And that's the menu page for The Crazies. And it was funny when we first submitted it, we got an email from Breck Eisner, the director of the movie. And he was like, can I have a conversation with you guys? And it was the most polite conversation ever. It was like, I love what you guys did. And his only thing was like 2 of the shots in the eyes he wanted different. He was like, this is amazing, like good work. And we're like, I thought we were going to get like reprimanded for it when he was proofing it, but it was kind of cool. So also I got to give him a shout because he's in the chat. Mike Callio. Callio is old veteran Anchor Bay. Everybody here knows him. He's the director of Dinner with Leatherface, which was, one of the first films we picked up. And I will say he's one of the first guys that actually said, yes, I want to cast my lot with you guys. Now, whether it works out for him or not, it remains to be seen. But he put a lot of faith in us in the early beginning. So thank you. Thank you, Michael. And he's become a good friend over this time, too. He and I enjoy lunches in Glendale frequently. So anyway, to that question, Garrett, because I have an interesting question, and it's not a horror question.
I'm going to head out, but thank you so much for having me.
Yes, please, Jillian. Thank you. You'll see.
So excited for tuning into the podcast.
All right, you'll see more of Jillian and the podcast in the future on the Plank. Thank you, Jillian, and we'll talk to you soon. All right,
Bye.
So here's my question, and this is not a horror question, but it is a question about something that, in terms of scouring the vaults when I work there, I discovered a couple movies. Who in this chat can name the 2 movies that were licensed to us from Max Baer Jr., who played Jethro on the Beverly Hillbillies? Mike, I feel like you know both of these movies just based on the look on your face, but there's 2 of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, and honestly, I know them because I believe they may have been among, if not the first things I worked on at Anchor Bay. So that's the only reason I remember that. I was unfamiliar with these otherwise, but I was thinking about it today because I was thinking about, shit, what was the first thing I worked at Anchor Bay, and do I have a copy of it? And I don't have that. The very, very first thing I worked on was as a freelancer, which was a children's title, and I do have that. But I was just thinking of those movies today because I worked on those with Bo. That's actually how I met Bo. As brand manager of those.
Those are the first 2. Did I go too obscure with that question? Nobody jumped on it. Yeah, it's not mine, Hunter. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the input, but no, it's not mine, Hunter. Two different movies, Max Baer Jr. And RJ wound up working and scouring like an old airplane hangar with Max Baer Jr. to find some of the elements on this stuff. So, okay, The Ring's got one, The Wild McCulloughs. Can The Ring get the other one? We got one more.
He's probably like, oh, the pressure.
All the pressure. He could probably look it up in this time. Somebody else got it. Somebody else got it, but they got it. So now we got to basically give away 2 things. It's Macon County Line and The Wild McCulloughs. So, and I actually, for whatever reason, I have a very soft spot in my heart for Macon County Line in particular, just because I think that was one of the first movies that I kind of unearthed from the Anchor Bay vaults, and I was like, "This is pretty good," and it's a pretty good 70s drive-in movie.
I think I remember sleeping at your house, and that would just always be there somewhere. Like
Macon County Line?
DVD, yeah. It was always sitting around. I was like, maybe I'll watch this tonight. Every time.
Yeah, beyond just the big horror, Anchor Bay had a lot of just
Right.
weird. I mean, they weren't even necessarily cult films. They were small indie dramas and things like that, or thrillers and things like that. But you know, they had a little bit of an edge, but they weren't really necessarily horror or cult, even, at least what I would think of a cult film.
Right.
And there was a lot of that. I mean, it all came as part of catalogs. You know, we'd be buying a catalog to get something, and then this was just the other stuff you released to make money. But there were a lot of gems in there.
But would you find a lot of Anchor Bay fans who trust the content that Anchor Bay puts out? All of a sudden, there's a rebirth for these movies for them to watch, you know. And then it's a name you can trust. Oh, Anchor Bay, you know, becomes the
what's brutal, and it goes back to talking about being jaded about some of this stuff after a while, is, you know, between what you guys are doing and just in general, finding out now years later, you know, when we were at Anchor Bay, none of us had any idea of the kind of impact this stuff was having on the fans. And you hear that kind of thing over and over again from people who work at companies that wind up having a large fan base, is that we don't really realize it, because when we're there, it's a job. I mean, we're in an office every day, bitching about the same things that everybody in the office bitches about.
Right.
So we get jaded to the fact that we're actually doing something amazing, and kind of universally, everyone I know, and I'm still in touch with a lot of people from Anchor Bay, people who work there. You know, a lot of us really want to becoming great friends, and we love each other, and they're still in touch many years later. And universally, all of us say we wish we would have appreciated just how cool it was at the time, and how, you know, none of us are doing anything remotely as cool as that now. But one of the things that was interesting, and how you get jaded to it, is, you know, we had all of that stuff and we threw all this stuff away, but the stuff that we kept was all the stuff that was kind of really interesting and unique. And like, when I look at the stuff that you collected, that you have, and that you're holding on to, like, it's weird where we have these sort of personal connections to the stuff that's different than what the fans have. And that's what I think is kind of interesting about having these discussions and seeing what people are talking about. Like, it just blows me away to see that people actually are, you know, looking at this stuff. And when you guys were on that that other show, and he showed you his video room, and I keep seeing people showing their video collections, and there's always a Wicker Man box set there, and like, that's become like a central piece of many of these collections. And then, you know, I look back, and I don't know if you remember this, is like, you know, that was looked upon as a bomb, like nobody bought that when it came out, and then as soon as it was no longer available, it took off. So it's really just amazing from our standpoint to see things the way the fans saw them, which is really kind of wild. Maybe because you went to some of a lot of the conventions, you saw more of that. And certainly guys like Michael Felsher and Jay Douglas and even Mark may have seen a lot more of that. But for a lot of the people who just worked in the office, we did not realize that we were part of some magic, which was kind of cool in retrospect.
Yeah, and it was also interesting too at the time, seeing some of the films that had a really great response at the conventions, but weren't ultimately hits in the marketplace. You know, things that ultimately were, because that was kind of when I started at Anchor Bay, they were kind of segueing from the catalog stuff to actually acquiring some, like, you know, indie content. And a lot of the films they were picking up were kind of pushing the envelope on some of this indie content stuff. And, you know, it was what the fans were responding to. Like, you know, for example, and not to out either of these movies, but like, I remember The Lost, the Chris Severson movie, and I wound up working with Chris on another film years later called Monstrous. But like, that was a huge hit at conventions. Like, people loved that movie. And, you know, people would come up and talk about that movie and be really into it. And I don't remember it as being a great seller. Now, I was never really privy to the big sales numbers on things. You know, I always kind of knew if it was a smash, but I didn't know if it was I knew if it was a smash, I knew if it was a flop. I didn't know if it was like in between. So, but I don't remember that as being a runaway hit, but you wouldn't know that from going to the conventions. So it was interesting to see that too.
Yeah. I mean, it really is strange which of the stuff that we were working on has stood the test of time and which things haven't.
Yeah.
And not just in terms of the content, but even like the releases. I mean, there are legendary releases, especially now when, or at least recently, right now, I think we are seeing that renaissance of physical media that is worth owning. That's got content on it. That's not just the movie and a trailer. That was it originally, and then Anchor Bay was really a pioneer in giving you commentaries, giving you bonus features, giving you more than 2 hours entertainment for that disc. And then over time, that kind of went away, and it's nice to see that coming back. And I think that's one of the things that helped Anchor Bay. And you were talking about that film education, but things like bonus features and things like commentaries, those are a part of that.
Right.
That is how many people have learned a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of people will listen to a DVD commentary and then think that they're an expert on the movie. But so it's opened up a lot of weird doors. But really, in many ways, seeing that stuff has become kind of like a small film school in itself, just to learn how people are doing things, and how, especially stuff like Anchor Bay, which doesn't necessarily have studio backing for a lot of those projects, where people are explaining, just like how we explain how we got that cover and how we got this. A lot of these indie filmmakers are explaining how they got a shot that you're like, oh my God, that's so crazy that you could pull that off. Whereas, you listen to a commentary on a Marvel movie and it's like, well, we shot this in front of a green screen, or the volume and the CGI guys put it in. So the stuff that people learned from that bonus content was really, I think, pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. Well, thanks everyone. This went longer than expected, but it was fun. So I mean, we thought this was going to be like 20 minutes, but I know I'm glad. Don said Candy and Girl on a Motorcycle are awesome classics. I know, Joelle, you're a fan of Candy.
Yeah, I have those both too, but they're mine. Those are keepers.
Those are Joelle's. I might have an extra copy of Candy somewhere. So Don, keep an eye out for that.
Mike, but I have a question for Mike, really, really quick.
Sure.
Midnight Hour. Do you have that?
I do not.
What? How did we all snooze on that one?
I do not have that one, unfortunately.
That one's going for like $900 on eBay.
I bet Bo has. Let me ask Bo. Although it's funny, again, Bo says he's like, basically, I have one of everything. The question now is, do I have two of those? So, and he's, he's like all of us. He's a collector at heart. He doesn't want to part with his only copy of something, like, so I get it, and I'm totally there with him.
Did I miss? Are we doing something with opera?
Did we give it away? Did we give it away? Whoops.
Yeah, we gave it away. Who won opera? It's in the chat. The Ring was the first one.
Yeah, I got that.
Fantastic.
And then we got to find something for Ava Pop Culture. Even though it was a two-part answer. We got to find something because that Ava Pop Culture chimed in with I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know if it's AVA or Ava. Sorry.
I do have one more thing.
Oh, okay. What do you got?
Check this out. This
cool poster.
This
I love that.
Poster archives.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and this was, and the cool thing about those posters that you went through, this actually was sent to us from the licensor, and this was from Hammer. Like, this is
wow.
This was all of that stuff. They sent us posters. Original artwork. I actually have, I don't remember what movie it is. It's an old Western. I actually have an original acrylic painting. They really should not have sent us an actual painting. We actually had, and that's what I was saying, before you got to that room, other people had been pilfering things for ages.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Joelle, do you remember Rob? Do you guys remember Rob? Rob Webb? He worked at Anchor Bay. He was a designer there. I was so pissed at him because they found this original painting of Godzilla that we had gotten from Toho, that when Anchor Bay briefly had the Godzilla license, and it's an original acrylic painting, and he got it, and I'm just like, you're not even a Godzilla fan. Like, that should go to someone who loves Godzilla, but it was just no. I got it. So yeah, a lot of collectors got some cool stuff there. It's amazing the stuff we had there, and all of it we just didn't. Like that, something like that was amazing, but all of the weird promo items and stuff, I'd kill that. case full of Suspiria, those little Suspiria glasses now.
Oh, I know. I have one of those in storage somewhere. Again, I have to dig that out at some point. But yeah, it's all those things that we just had.
Snow globes.
Snow globes, yeah.
Mike, I have the prototypes from Necronomicon book, and I still have them, but they fuse together.
I've got a bunch of
they
those.
Just kind of all fuse together. I tried to pull them apart, but maybe I can frame it in the shadow box and someone will look at it as an RP. It is neat to see them all. It looks very evil.
I've got a few of those too. We had a bunch of those. I have one of it was a hand assembled one. They just sent us just a rubber mask, and we built it in our office out of cardboard and paper. I mean, there was just so much stuff like that. And I've still got that. I've still got just a lot of weird stuff from around the office. I've got a bunch of the posters that were up when Anchor Bay closed. They just gave the posters to everybody. So I've got like the Dawn of the Dead that was on the wall, the signed Nosferatu signed by Werner Herzog.
Oh, that's such a good one to have.
In there, I know. I was I got that one because Aaron pretty much just was like, Mike's been here for a long time. Like if Bo wanted it, he could have got it, but like because I'd been there a while, I think they let me have that one. And yeah, just some Ghost in the Shell. I got that.
Yeah.
I got that Dead and Breakfast because I worked on that one, but that's not really a very good poster.
It's not a great poster. It wasn't a bad movie that kind of fell by the wayside too.
That was one of those decent movies that Anchor Bay put out that we picked up. It was an indie movie. It was kind of funny.
Yep.
But it was another one that had shitty artwork and yeah, like I did that poster and the cover, and I think they're terrible.
I'm sorry, I should have said it wasn't a great part.
Oh, no.
I just meant it wasn't memorable, like in terms of like when we think of like the iconic artwork,
right?
You know,
I will go farther and say it's not even any good.
I remember my desk was next to Night of the Demons for the longest time, which was a great poster. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, which was one of the best slogans ever. Angela's having a party, but Jason and Freddie are too afraid to come. But you'll have a hell of a time.
Yeah.
It's like,
those are all great Anchor Bay releases.
Anyway, now everybody on this chat is just listening to us reminisce and BS about stuff from back in the day. But you know, we'll have more to come for sure. We appreciate everybody signing on. Thank you, Mike, for joining, and Joelle for setting this whole thing up. Josh for the new chapter, and yeah, let's get things going. Let's you know, let's bring it all back around. Get the band back together and do what we love.
You know, everybody who was part of Anchor Bay, even in those last days when it was closing, we're all just kind of wondering if there were some way it could all be brought back. You know, that was something that we were thinking about even back then, because it was a great time and it was a great company to work for. And
I know, likewise, and it's amazing how many of us have stayed in touch over the years. I mean, really, you look back at it. We've all had other jobs since then, but you don't become nearly as close with your coworkers as we did. You know, and it was, and I'm not just blowing smoke to try to like sell up the brand or anything. It really was a special place to work. And hopefully this new incarnation, you know, I feel a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, but hopefully we can do it justice. You know, we got to do something.
Well,
with your help, both of you, like I need your help.
But I'm excited about it. So.
The old stuff. I mean, that's the thing.
Doing good so far. So
yeah. All right.
This is what old Anchor. I mean, everybody kind of knows, you know, how things went, and certainly the company became bigger and more financially successful and more corporate over time, and you know, I benefited from that. I was there till the end. But certainly the fun and the passion and all of that stuff happened when it was people who were interested in the product, people like Jay Douglas and Mark, and people who really, really loved movies, and not just people who loved money. It was those people loved money too. Don't get me wrong. It's just that They loved money. They loved making money by putting out good movies, and that's why it was a good company for as long as it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And giving the royal treatment to movies that other companies would.
Yeah.
You know, like you mentioned, buying the catalogs, and then you'd say we wanted this one, but we got 10 others, but we still do them justice, you know, which was great
that's
too.
important. Not a lot of companies.
Because no matter what it is, like it's somebody's favorite. Somebody just digs the hell out of that movie, and when it gets that special treatment, they love it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks, everyone. I know it's late East Coast time. Have a great night. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.